How's it going, everyone? This is MOS Tricks, and we're back with another discussion guide, and this one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing some more formal guides in the future, but I feel like you guys are getting some solid value out of these ones where we kind of just talk, and I show you some stuff. It's a little bit more on the B-roll side. I kind of just let the gameplay go, and I explain some mentality or some strategy stuff for you. And today we actually have a very good topic. This is something that a lot of players kind of just let go under the radar, and they don't really think about at all, and that is, what should I be thinking about or trying to react to while I'm playing? Because as we know, a lot of stuff is happening in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero at any given time, if not all the time. So I'm going to give you guys some basics to focus on. I'm not going to say for a single second that this is the 100% best way to play the game, but this is going to be one of the best ways to practice the game. And until we can actually practice how we want to play, it's going to be a rough day. We didn't know I was also a rapper, but here we are. But anyways, we're going to start very broad and then try and niche down to a little bit more specific stuff towards the end. But the first most important thing, there's two things you have to care about or worry about at all times. And those two things are you actionable or are you being hit? It sounds pretty obvious, but this is going to change your mindset and what you should be thinking about as far as offense and defense so drastic. And this sounds obvious, but you should be reacting to if you are in fact being hit and you have to try and do something defensive to get out of hit stun or out of a combo, or should you be pressing advantage because your attacks are actually landing? There's no worse feeling in the world than actually piecing somebody up and then just stopping because you weren't sure what was going on. So you decided to vanish for no reason, or block for no reason, or even back up for no reason. And one thing I like to really do as far as practicing this is going into the training room, like you can see right here, and setting a bot to easy or medium. Depending on if you practice this for a little bit, you might feel more comfortable to put it on strong, but I highly recommend at least starting off on easy and see how you do. The point of this drill is not to see if you can win, because honestly, if you've been playing this game for even a couple days, beating a bot on easy who's not really blocking or doing too much is pretty easy to actually do. The point of this drill is to make sure that you are actually doing what you're supposed to be doing. If they are hitting buttons on you, are you blocking? Are you aware of when you should be vanishing? If you actually hit them, are you hit confirming? If you're landing a lot of attacks on block, are you switching it up and going for a grab? These are the things you need to practice, and that will actually make you react way better in fights. Tip number 2 is to always have some sort of defensive option at the ready, something that you can react with at all times. You want to think of it like having that ace up your sleeve. Whenever things get a little bit crazy, you can just push this button and try to reset or get some space. For a lot of people, the go-to right now is using your vanish, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, what's going to make your offense and defense stand out a ton is actually vanishing when you need to. And I want to say this again. You want to vanish when you need to, not because you feel like it. There's a huge difference. Of course, you can use your vanish for mix-ups and using it for combos, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is using your vanish for realistically no reason. You're just trying to make yourself hard to hit. However, you're leaving a lot of punishes on the table, because when somebody is whiffing and you are in the middle of a vanish, there's not a lot you can really do to get a sizable punish. If you were to go for a super counter or use perception or even just stepping back and then throwing out some key blasts, you'd be surprised how much more effective it is than just trying to teleport all over the screen. And don't get me wrong, I get it. It looks super cool, but this is also the #1 way to get yourself disoriented and then throw out a panic attack. In a lot of cases, it's either a random special or you try and go for a grab and you end up whiffing and getting punished way worse. Also, in the event that your opponent goes for a charge, smash, high, mid, or low, if you vanish that, they have a chance to now vanish you. Whereas if you were to hold your guard and then appropriately block their low, mid, or high, you can get an attack break, in which case you will get a guaranteed punish, but that will never happen if you're vanishing all over the screen instead. Of course, vanishes have their place in both offense and defense, but just don't get it twisted and think that vanishing is the best move in the game, because you can definitely do it too much. So what I suggest is to focus on blocking and attacking and then reacting with a vanish. Don't just vanish because you want to. If you've ever played Super Smash Bros before, I compare this heavily to teching. You don't just hit tech all the time while you're walking around or in the air. You tech because you actually have to. Like I said, it's the ace up your sleeve that can keep you alive. My third tip is a mix-up option that I've actually had a lot of success with recently, and that is going for a defensive approach. And for those of you that don't know what I mean by defensive approach, I simply mean using a dash towards the enemy or a dragon dash towards the enemy and then choosing to block or use perception instead of just mashing an attack. One thing I've learned from labbing this game is that getting your hands up to do perception is way faster than blocking. Holding perception does drain your key, but if you're playing against a very mashy player, rushing in on them and getting them to panic with a button is way better to just reverse them. And if they try to call out your approach with perception and they try and grab you, dropping perception and going for a jab yourself is way faster. So this is actually a very good way to approach someone with success. It does take a bit of brain power to actually do this, but it is a reactable setup that you can actually have success with. And for the last tip is to pay attention to how much space your opponent is actually giving you. One of the best things that you can do in this game is get into sparking mode, and it is a very good way to anti-camp someone who wants to run away. Running away and shooting ki blasts at you can be effective, but if they want to go to the other side of the map and shoot ki blasts the entire length of the stage while you are charging, that is a horrible strategy on their part, and you should take advantage. If they want to give you space and shoot ki blasts, it's extremely easy to deflect them, and it also gives you skill stocks very quickly if you are deflecting them successfully. So camping at max distance is just a horrible plan, because while they are wasting their ki shooting at you, you are charging your own ki and also getting skill stocks by deflecting their attacks. So this is kind of a double tip. Tip number 1, take advantage of someone who tries to camp you. Tip number 2, don't camp people at max distance. And if somebody does want to camp you at max distance, let them go ahead and do it, because while you are charging up, you will get into sparking mode and have max ki, and then when you approach at max power, you are so much more devastating. You can get behind them with a Z-burst dash, get a crazy combo, make them waste their skill stocks to try and get out of the combo, and if they don't, you can combo it into your ultimate and potentially just do 2.5 bars of damage. I'll also say on a side note that if you are doing your rush attacks and you happen to knock your opponent away, you don't always have to vanish after them to try and put on more damage. Sometimes if you do a lift strike or you just happen to knock them super far away, you can take that time to charge up, especially if your game plan revolves around being in sparking mode. I haven't tested every single character, but I know for a fact that if Teen Gohan in Super Saiyan 2 gets to sparking mode, he gets 3 additional buffs just for being in sparking, on top of all the things that you actually get from being in sparking, such as unlimited Dragon Dash, unlimited Ki Blast, and also access to your ultimate. So for some characters, being in sparking mode literally is the meta, and you want to be in it as frequently as you possibly can. If you have any suggestions for topics that you'd like me to cover in a video just like this, please comment them down below. I'm always reading all the comments, and I want to try and make the most useful, valuable content possible to help you guys progress in the game. And for anyone that doesn't know, I'm an esports coach that's been coaching fighting games and shooting games for the last 5 years. And if you were to go back on my channel, you would see hundreds of one-on-one coaching sessions. Definitely have a passion for teaching, and I'm labbing this game every single day to try and bring you guys the best strategies possible. So please feel free to leave a question, and if somebody else leaves a super good question, make sure you like that so it's at the top of the list and I can make a video about it. Once again, this is MOS Tricks saying thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you learned something new, and have a good day.